statistically attractive. So she's going to be speaking. You can get all the information to talk about. If you get our spotlight, open that up and it'll have all the information, or you can go to our website, click on programs. Anyhow, she's talking at 6:30. At 5:30, there's a reception for the artists. Now, if it were me, I would go to that reception. Enjoy a free dinner, free drinks, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Have a good time with your friends for an hour, and then go to hear a good program for another 45 minutes or an hour.
Where will it be? Where?
Light Hall. The food is on the outside in that area that Dr. Shepard recently beautified, and then the program's in Light Hall. That's October 6th. The next night, October 7th at 7 o'clock, we, in conjunction with the Audubon Society, are bringing in a paleontologist from the northern part of the state by the name of Gary Morgan. What does he do, you ask? He digs for bones, but not in other states and other countries. He digs for them in the Gila. And he has found some very interesting things. So he's going to be talking about what he actually has uncovered in the Gila, that these big mammoth jaws and all kinds of things. Should be a great program. That's a week and 2 days from now, next Friday. And then
7 p.m. here in this building, right?
7 p.m.
Yeah, thank you.
In the GRC auditorium. Yes, thank you. Okay, the last one. October 27th. What kind of day is that? I don't know. I think it's a Thursday. Valerie Plame. Look at some people went, who? Valerie Plame was a CIA undercover operative who was outed by someone in the Bush administration to punish her husband, who refused to sign off on the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction. So she's speaking about that experience. She's written a book. This all occurred about 10 years ago. And we had a contact with her at that time. But it took a very long time to get this set up. One person in the line of connections of contact passed away, and then we lost our contact flow, and then we had to rebuild it. And so this person, Valerie Plame, is from the northern part of the state. All right, I've talked too long. That also, while I'm on, is at 6:30 on the 27th at Light Hall, and it comes with a reception for the person, for Valerie Plame, and you at 5:30. Good meal. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank, and thank you all for coming to this, the third of our 6 Lunch and Learn presentations for the fall semester, brought to you by the Western Institute for Lifelong Learning in partnership with Western New Mexico University. Now, I'm going to have to, well, before I introduce our speakers this afternoon, I should remind you that our speaker next week, Linda Moore, worked at the U.S. National Zoo in Washington, D.C. for 30 years. She worked in bird rescue, marine mammal rescue, those sorts of things. And she'll be talking to us next week. And if I can remember her title, it's something like Why Pigeons, Hawks, and Some Owls Hate Me. Now, she's, in 30 years, you just have to believe that she's accumulated some very, very interesting and informative things to relate to us. So she'll be our speaker next week. These folks have done so much that I couldn't commit to memory everything that I wanted to say about them. So forgive me if I have to read this, but Andrea Werner and Jeff Goyne are our speakers today. Andrea is the executive director of the Volunteer Center of Grant County. She lived in the Mimbres for 14 years, and there she found many opportunities to be of service in Mimbres, running the community garden, gardening with the children of San Lorenzo School, helping to distribute food at the local pantry, and serving as a board member for Mimbres Valley Health Action League. She's a practitioner of karma yoga, a practice of selfless service to humanity whereby a spiritual seeker attempts to give their actions selflessly without hoping for merit, fame, or glory. Jeff is a former national budget manager for Greenpeace. He founded Single Socks here in Silver City, a nonprofit thrift store that donates hundreds of thousands of dollars to anti-hunger programs in Grant County. He holds an MBA in finance from George Washington University, a BA in economics from the University of Northern Colorado, and is a practicing Mahayana Buddhist. Jeff is founder and director of Lotus Center, a Silver City nonprofit organization that provides instruction and opportunities to practice yoga, Tai Chi, and other forms of contemplative movement and meditation. The title of their remarks to us today, Silver City Seva. Seva is a Sanskrit word which means selfless service. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you all this afternoon. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the generous introduction. I just want to make one slight and important modification. Kathleen Wigley and I co-founded Single Socks, so it's important. I want to make sure that she gets the credit due her. We founded Single Socks together, and it became clear early on that this woman was born to manage. I mean, she managed circles around me, so I just exited stage left, and now she's responsible for the day-to-day operations and doing just a fantastic job. I would like to propose, if it's okay with everybody, that we start with a short meditation. This is a lunch and learn, it was pointed out to me, which means that some of us may be enjoying lunch. No better way than to sort of activate and engage our parasympathetic nervous system and our digestive system so that you can fully enjoy the benefits of your lunch. So if that sounds okay with everybody, and our cell phones are turned off, why don't we go ahead and just settle into a comfortable meditation posture. The most important features of which is for our spine to be straight and relaxed, and our feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart. We can be facing straight ahead with our head tilted slightly forward. And this serves to bring our spine perfectly into alignment. Our mouth is closed, our jaw is relaxed. And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and softly close your eyes. And to begin, I'd like you to please simply bring your awareness to your breath and observe the sensation of air moving across the tips of your nostrils as you inhale and exhale. You might observe cooler air entering your nostrils as you inhale, and slightly warmer, more moist air leaving as you exhale. Now is not the time to reflect on events that have occurred in the past Those events cannot be changed, undone, or relived. Nor is it the time to speculate about events that may or may not occur in the future. The future is completely uncertain. Now is the time to be fully present, here in this moment. Now is the time to give yourself permission to enjoy engaging in an activity that's going to bring you a peaceful state of mind. And with that, I'd like you to please bring your awareness to the crown of your head, to your scalp in particular. And I'd like you to allow at once all of the tiny muscles and nerves that support your scalp to become loose and completely relaxed. The tiny muscles and nerves at the top of your scalp and the back of your scalp, the sides of your scalp. Just allow these tiny muscles and nerves to at once release and become loose and deeply, deeply relaxed. Please allow the tiny muscles and nerves across your forehead to also become loose and relaxed. The tiny muscles that support your eyebrows and all of the muscles in your face. Please allow all of your facial muscles to become soft and completely relaxed, so much so that it feels as though the pores of your skin are opening up now. Your mind starts to relax as your body is starting to relax. Please allow the muscles that support your jaw to become soft and relaxed. Just allow any tension that you might be carrying in your jaw to dissipate, to drain away, to dissolve into empty space, to dissolve into space like emptiness. Your jaw starts to feel a bit heavier now, and it takes a gentle and deliberate effort to keep your jaw from dropping open. Please allow the muscles in your neck and your throat to become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed. And as your shoulders settle and rest, they may start to feel a bit heavier now. And this causes them to drop down into a natural, comfortable position. There's a subtle lengthening of your neck and a subtle lengthening of your spine. Please allow the muscles in your arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers to each become completely soft and completely relaxed. And your hands now might feel a bit warmer and heavier as they rest in your lap. And your mind relaxes as your body relaxes. Please allow the muscles in your chest and your abdomen and all of the muscles in your back, all of the muscles that support your shoulder blades and your spine. Allow these muscle sets to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed as you drop deeper and deeper on down. And let yourself go. The muscles in your hips and your pelvic area become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your legs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. One by one, these muscle sets become completely soft and completely relaxed. Your body is both centered and settled. You're in a state of perfect physical equilibrium. Your mind relaxes completely now as your body is completely relaxed. And let yourself go. Now I'd like you to please start to deepen your breath a little bit and become aware of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your body. If you'd like, you can start to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of your surroundings inside this room, the ceiling above you, the floor beneath your feet, furnishings, and so forth. Allow your awareness to extend outside of this room. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of outer space beyond the blue sky. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Thank you very much. For those of you who brought your lunch, enjoy with your digestive system hopefully fully engaged. One other slight addendum to Andrea's biography that was so generous and complete is that Andrea was the very first employee at Lotus Center, so she holds that distinction. We lost her with mixed feelings to the volunteer center when she became executive director there, but she was our very first employee and such a precious gem to have there, and I feel really fortunate to be able to give this presentation with her. I am founder and director of Lotus Center, and I'm here representing Lotus Center today. And for those of you who are not familiar with what Lotus Center is and what we do, I thought I'd just take a quick moment and read to you our vision statement. That'll give you, I think, as good an overview of what we do and what we're about as anything. Our vision is to see peace in the world. We believe that each of us individually is best able to create peace in our world, in our community, and in our families by first creating, attaining, and establishing peace within ourselves. Lotus Center is a place of healing within which people are welcome to deepen their sense of peace through practicing love and service. Our commitment is to avail this place to anyone and everyone seeking peace from within. In just another moment, I'll read our mission statement. Lotus Center exists to provide a safe, serene, and sacred place wherein everyone is welcome to learn and practice paths that lead to growth and transformation. We accomplish this by providing high-quality classes in meditation, yoga, and other forms of movement taught by qualified, committed instructors. In carrying out this service and coursework, financial self-sufficiency is an integrating priority. Lotus Center also serves as a gathering place for strengthening cohesion and expanding consciousness within the community at large. So it's kind of what Lotus Center is about. For those of you who weren't previously initiated, I brought some literature. It's over here on the table. A couple of nice postcards of chair yoga, kind of a beginner's yoga class, and a class that I teach, meditation for beginners. We thought about naming it meditation for people who don't know anything about meditation, but that title would have been too long. But it's kind of descriptive of what the class is. Anyways, all that literature over here on the table. Seva is a Sanskrit term, as we heard, which means selfless service. Selfless service. That is to say, service that is provided without any expectation of any outcome, any expectation of results, any expectation of appreciation. I first became familiar with the notion of Seva in the Bhagavad Gita, which is kind of a fundamental text in the Hindu pantheon. Karma yoga closely related to the practice of seva, selfless service. I think it's an interesting notion to avail our services without any expectation of compensation, monetary or otherwise, words of appreciation, accolade, whatever it might be. That's a good opportunity for us to check into our intention, why we engage in do good deeds, whether it's in a traditional volunteer setting, which Andrea is going to speak about more in a little bit, or just engaging in our daily activities. What would it be like to live your life wherein you engaged in everything that you did, whether it's meditation practice, whether it's washing the dishes, whether it's writing out a check to a charity, without any expectation of results? In a very brief nutshell, that's what karma yoga is about in the larger context, selfless service. Now that's kind of the traditional, sorry, I just want to make sure I don't lose my time here. That is kind of a traditional overview of Seva and karma yoga. And I wanted to talk about some more kind of subtle, maybe not as immediately apparent benefits of practicing Seva or engaging in activities without any expectation for results. One of the benefits of not having expectation with regard to what we do, activities that we engage in, is that it keeps us planted in the present moment. If we're engaging in an activity simply for the sake of engaging in that activity, we're necessarily present in the moment. If we're thinking about how this might play out, what the results are going to be, what our hoped for outcome is going to be, then we're necessarily living in the future. Our mind is taking us into the future without being present in what we're doing, whatever it is, volunteering at Single Socks, or washing the dishes, making a meal for a loved one. It keeps us, if we engage in the activity, whatever it is, for the sake of engaging in that activity, it keeps us present in the moment, and that is to say, not in the past, not in the future, present in the moment. So we might ask, what's the benefit of staying present in each moment? Well, these made-up ideas called past and future, right? If you think about it, when I first heard this, it kind of blew me away that the past and the future are really conceptual ideas. They're ideas made up by conceptual mind. And mind likes to take us into the future and revisit the past because it thinks that those two places are more interesting and more exciting and more substantive than being present in this moment. In the now is sometimes referred to. Being present in the now. Some of you who have read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, this is not new information to you. The past, revisiting the past, invites resentment. Going forward into the future invites speculation, expectation, and oftentimes fear and anxiety. Okay? So much more beneficial for us to stay present in the moment, in the now. So that's one benefit, and kind of going into maybe some of the more philosophical, maybe more spiritual aspects of Seva. So one of the benefits of being fully present through engaging in an activity, or maybe most importantly, conversing with another person, being fully present in hearing what that person has to say and communing with them. That's one of the most beneficial and I think meaningful opportunities to practice being present, is when we converse with others, whether it's somebody we encounter on the street outside of the co-op, who seems to have all the time in the world, right, to engage you and, let me tell you this long story, and I've got things to do, I've got places to go, I'm very busy doing important things, whether, being present with that person and availing ourselves to them, or being with a loved one and really hearing them, really hearing where they are and what's important to them in this moment. So that's one benefit. It takes us out of the past where resentment lies, keeps us away from the future where fear, anxiety, and speculation takes place. Those things go away in a lot of the mental busyness that takes place. A lot of the conceptual thinking and processing and what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the noise machine in the head. That's kind of how we can neutralize that. The other benefit that comes from that, from being in the moment, out of the past, not revisiting the past, not going forward into the future, is we enjoy a clear state of consciousness. When all of the processing about the past and the future ends and we're just here in this present moment, it allows a more authentic, unconditioned state of consciousness to arise. We go from conceptual thought to non-conceptual awareness, also known as being. Just being in this moment and allowing this moment to be as it is. There's peace that comes from that. So usually when we encounter one of these objects, we'll sort of look at it and conceptual mind takes over, just like it takes over in so many other aspects of our life. First it's like, oh my gosh, we're taken by the beauty of this, and then the conceptual mind kicks in. It's like, is it real or is it artificial? It's a little bit wilted, it's red, and I kind of prefer white flowers, and just sort of like on it goes. And that reminds me of the time that I picked a rose and I got stuck by a thorn, and just on it goes, rather than just apprehending or holding the flower for what it is, without labels, without judgment. And I would invite you to do that and just take it in. There's a peaceful state of consciousness that arises from doing that. You're just allowing the thing to be as it is without the conceptual mechanisms of labeling, judging, and then off we go into the past or the future. All of these are benefits of Seva. It's a beautiful notion. It's a beautiful practice. And that's kind of the last point that I wanted to make about Seva to offer to you is that I'm interested more in, or I guess I should say I'm interested less in imparting intellectual facts, information, enhancing your knowledge with regard to Seva. I'm less concerned with that and more concerned with inviting you to take up Seva as a practice in your life, like a regular daily practice with which you can achieve a more peaceful state of mind. And guess what? When you achieve a more peaceful state of mind, those around you experience a more peaceful world. The relationship is more peaceful, the environment becomes more peaceful. It has this expanding, flowering effect, if you will. It starts maybe with just regarding objects like this. I'll refrain from giving it a label. If we can do it with that, then we can do it with people in our lives. And that's where the real payoff takes place. We allow other people to be who they are. Allow them to be as they are in this moment. It's called acceptance. And people sense that they're being accepted for who they are, brings out the best in them. It's a beautiful result, all coming from this beautiful practice of Seva. So, that's about all I have to say. My dear friend and colleague, Andrea, is going to talk a little bit about some of the more tangible, but more quantifiable benefits of Seva, and different opportunities to practice in our community, how to actually engage in selfless service within different institutions in this community.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
So relaxed now. I don't even know if my voice will work. That was beautiful. Well, I definitely am not. I don't consider myself an expert in anything. In spiritual life, we call it a practice, because I feel that's what it is. We're always practicing. So as I bring this information to you, I'm not bringing it from any expert place, but just experience. And so I'd like to ask the question, we're not enlightened beings, and we're not high spiritual masters, and we're people in the world, and is there anything that we really ever do that is selfless? What, in Seva, that's a question I ask myself a lot when I'm out and doing my volunteer work that calls to me. Is this actually selfless? And what I realize that in going into the world and serving humanity and helping each other, or helping people without the expectation of reward or repayment, what is it? There is something I'm getting, and what I realize is it feels good. I feel good when I go into the world and I help people. It helps. There's a piece that in Seva we talk about it as our it's a steps towards a person's spiritual growth, and I think as we are working towards our own spiritual growth, that it's that feeling good that we can then put out into the world, in our work. And so in that, we get a good feeling from it. We also walk through the world with that feeling of goodness and can give that to others as we do our work. So it's not so much, so for me, Seva is, I recognize that the works that I choose to do for humanity are personal. They're very personal to me. They're a calling. And when I do them, I feel good. And yet at other times when I've given myself to this work, like Jeff was saying, my head starts to go places. And I start to think, oh, this should be different, or man, I've given so much time to this and it's not going the way I want to. And so the piece that always brings me back is to just remember where my head is at. And how I keep that is through, or how I try to remember is through mantra. I actually have a repetitive saying that I put through my head, and when I can catch myself in that talk, I can always go back to that mantra and remind myself to stay in the moment, stay with the seva of the volunteer work that I'm doing. I've been thinking a lot about our seva and its spiritual side, and there's also a psychological side, and I wanted to talk about just on that same level of spiritual growth. I think something happens also in our psychology when we are volunteering in the world, when we go and do this work. Does anybody know what this is here? Maslow's hierarchy, and it's so closely related to what the spiritual aspects I see of what Seva is. Before Maslow, a lot of psychologists actually looked at the negative aspects of humanity and looked at what it is that creates I'm using my word here, so I'm not a public speaker, though I'm practicing it. What is it that creates imbalance in humanity? And what Maslow actually did is he looked at what is it that creates love and what is it that creates good feelings in people, in humanity. And he created this hierarchy. And I wanted to share it because I think it's so beautiful in regards to the Seva work. It starts with our physiological needs. His hierarchy is how we find our highest self, our truest self. And really, how we move through that is starting with our physiological needs, hunger and thirst. If those needs aren't being met, we can't move up to transcendence. And then next is our safety needs, concerns of safety, of pain and anxiety. And these pieces down here is where I see the Seva work where it happens. This is how we relieve the suffering of humanity. These are the people we're serving here. People who are hungry, people who don't have adequate housing, people who are in trauma. And in helping them, ideally we can also, when they receive that help, they also are able to move through their own, transcend on their own path through the works through serving humanity. And this is where I see where volunteer work, where Seva really starts, and the benefits that we can find in that work. And one of the benefits of volunteering and going and serving as humanity is you find other people who are also doing that same work, and you can transcend through this level of need for affection and belongingness, and meet people, and then next up is this. The next on the hierarchy is self-respect and esteem. You start to feel good about yourself. You feel these works and this connectedness with people it gives you a feeling of self-respect, gives a human a feeling of self-respect. And then from the next piece of the hierarchy is moving into self-actualization, where we start to be able to then give into our creativity and see a need for justice and beauty in the world, and where one can actually self-actualize, like by being able to recognize if we're hungry and we're thirsty, we're not going to have time to stop and see the beauty in others. And lastly, and this is the promise of the spiritual growth in Seva, is that idea of self-transcendence, that idea that we can actually, I think of the word egoiness, that we can actually move past our own needs into that of a communal consciousness, where we can then transcend in that higher space of self, or of community, and of just giving, from that sense of giving, because we've met all our needs. I wanted to share this today, like I said, because I thought it was so beautiful. And so where that leads me is to talk about some of the benefits, the actual physical benefits of volunteering in the world. And there's been a lot of studies around volunteering and around service to humanity. And they found that it can counteract the effects of stress and anger and anxiety. That actually, when we go out and we give to the world, we can help relax our own selves. They've done a lot of studies around depression, and seeing that when people get out of their own selves and into the world, they can actually move through depression by giving to others. And we hear a lot nowadays of these studies of happiness, and volunteering just gives you a sense of happiness and a sense of purpose. And lastly, volunteering also helps you stay physically healthy. When we go out into the world and we move around and we work with people, it lowers our blood pressure. We are stronger and able to meet the world in a much more physically healthy way. I like one study says that volunteering, actually, they've done studies on lowering mortality rates. Now, I know that probably every one of us in here will one day find that we'll die, and so I don't know how, but I think what they're trying to say is that they know that people stay alive longer when they give selflessly of themselves. So that leaves me with the last piece here. I have some volunteer center paperwork that talks about different places in our community where we can give of ourselves. And if anybody's interested, they can pick up a piece of one of these papers here that talks about all of the volunteer opportunities available in Silver City. And of course, you can always come into the volunteer center.
If you want to, but not this month, but October, and you have an update from somewhere, where can you get an update? Let's say come toward the end of October now, and it's up and you volunteer. Where can you get a latest list?
Well, I actually just updated this list today. So this is a list of different services in the area, of different organizations that have volunteering available with phone numbers.
Okay.
And so you can call, if there's one that calls you.
Okay, so like in a month or from now, it should be like that.
Yeah.
Different.
Is that online?
I don't have, this is not online right now, but I have a one for everyone in here.
Oh.
I just like to end by saying that that we each have our own light inside of us, and it's how we use that light is that helps to create the light in the world of peace and joy. And so I just put out to you exactly find a place where you can shine your own light.
Thank you. That nice thing.
Could you tell us more of what goes on in the volunteer center?
Sure, I'd be happy to. In fact, I need to rush out of here at 1 o'clock because I have a group of volunteers. What time is it now?
9 till.
As we speak, there's a wonderful group of volunteers setting up our food distribution that we are 2 times a month. We have a food distribution. It's the last Wednesday and the first Saturday of the month, and we're always in need of volunteers to come in and help us. Today's distribution starts at 4, and so between 1 and 4 o'clock, we have a large amount of volunteers who come in and they're sorting produce right now and canned goods and getting our distribution center ready. And then from 4 to 6 is the actual distribution. And that's another time where we need folks who can help run carts to the car, help people get to their carts to the car and unload and load the food that they're receiving. We also have the garden right now. The garden, we're just moving through into our winter season, and we can always use hands in the garden. We like gardening. And on this list, you'll see we have an elemental program. It's a backpack program for schools. And what we do is we send food home with kids who might not have enough to eat on the weekends. And we pack backpacks weekly and send those home with students. We're in need of hands for those distributions as well. And I encourage you to just come in and see and check out the volunteer center and see what's going on down there. And see if there's a place to volunteer. And yes.
How is the volunteer center supported?
We're completely supported by grants and individual donations. And that was a piece I'd like to say as well. If you don't have time or ways to volunteer, there's lots of also lovely feelings in donating to the charities and organizations of your choice. And that's another way that we can give selflessly of ourselves, is through financial contribution. Yes.
I just wanted to add, I was on a mesquite trip with 2 of your volunteers, and I understand you're gonna get a hammer mill into the volunteer center and be able to smash mesquite and have wonderful flour to make pancakes and bread. And you're also gonna have a workshop on making bread from mesquite native plants.
That's true. And that's another way you can come and be a part of the volunteer center is we have a group called the Mosquitoes. Thank you. The Mesquite group. And they are, what we're hoping to do is bring more education around sustainable food systems to Grant County through our native edible foods and also economic development through utilizing these foods. One of them is mesquite, which has incredible health benefits. And the mesquite mill is going to make it possible for folks to harvest their own mesquite and create their own flowers that they can utilize in food. And we are going to be doing more education around how to utilize those flowers. The flower at FLOUR from mesquite pods. And we're looking at an economic development piece as well, where we'd like to create a market for mesquite, where folks can go out and harvest mesquite and bring it in, and we can pay them for the mesquite pods, put them through the hammer mill, and then be able to make products or sell the flour.
That also help people develop businesses like you do the kitchen.
Correct. The Nuevos Comienzos Kitchen is, we have 2 women right now who are one's making a salsa and one's making pickles, and we sell them at the farmers market on Saturday. And we are open for more folks who might have a product that they'd like to produce in their kitchen to come in. And we have a kitchen manager who's been trained in all the health department regulations, and she also can mentor folks through the whole process of incubating a business, because our kitchen won't necessarily hold and sustain a business, but what we'd like to do is help people start businesses and then mentor them so they can move their business into a larger market.
No more questions? Well, thank you very much.
Did anybody want a volunteer flyer?
Guys, I've got class schedules for Lotus that are up here too, hot off the press actually. Our fall schedule.